God Built This Podcast, PODMAS edition. I am your host, Maxine, and we're on episode 6. I want to say that I had a good work day today. I did. I know I was just on here 2 episodes ago, I think, saying how much I hate my job. Look, I think here's the thing about me. I'm very high strung. I'm very over the top. And I don't want to dismiss myself by saying all these things, but I just want to say that in context, because I think like when I feel emotions, I feel it deeply, and then I'm over it the next day. And today's the next day. And I had a great work day. But I also realized that aside from having to just like wallow in the negative, I allowed myself to really just simply be in the present and not be in the past. And though the present, there's many factors that annoy the crap out of me of the present. But I think what the issue was for me was I was constantly comparing it to my previous campus. And I was constantly comparing it to the 4-year relationships that I built at my previous campus and the growth that I experienced there, both personally and professionally. So I think there's something to that, it was not just a professional journey, but it was a personal journey for me as well at that campus. So naturally, of course, one would compare and find gripe with every little thing that doesn't match up to what I lived and experienced from the 4 years that I was working at the previous campus. So I think that is also just some grace that I could extend to myself when it comes to my current situation. And I also just look at it like, I have to remember my why. I left, I willingly, voluntarily, on my own accord, left my previous campus. Wasn't because I hated the people I worked with. Wasn't because I was necessarily like, fuck y'all niggas, I can't sit. Like, it wasn't that. It was because I was ready to move forward in my professional career. And this or that location didn't allow much growth and opportunity for that for me. Every time I had a conversation with my boss at the time, she kept on giving me the door, respectfully, right? Like, she kept on saying, kept on giving me the runaround, and I wanted to hear something else. So I just had enough, and I put my foot down. And the difference with that boss and my current one is, from the get-go, he said that he is a strong supporter of his employees, of his teachers, moving forward to different roles. And there is evidence of that. So though I am still at my current position of teacher, there is much more opportunity and advancement available for me to move forward outside of that role. And that is much more than I can say from my previous campus, unfortunately. And I think what's so interesting about change is when you want to have a new role, a new thing, right? A new opportunity, you just want that one opportunity, right? You don't want everything else to change. But sometimes when it comes to a new role, you may have to change it to a whole new campus, right? You may have to experience, maybe the only way to experience that new role and that new leadership opportunity is if you leave your comfort zone, or, if you leave in my case, if you've left the previous campus because that campus was not allowing any doors to be open for me to experience said change in this specific area. And it's unfortunate because I, of course, wanted to stay there with the community that I've already built and the comfort that I've already just developed there, all of these things, but that's just, life is not like that. Like, and things are not linear as you may want. So I had to remember my why. And once I like just got into that headspace of, okay, yes, this is a not so easy process, and I'm like fighting it, right? Like I'm not quickly embracing the differences and the culture shock and all these things, and I want to go back. Like I instantly wanted, I gave up, internally. I did my best. I worked, I'm doing my best. I'm showing up every day, for the most part. But, I'm showing up. I am showing up, and I'm present, and I'm doing my work, and I'm doing it well. I'm getting compliments. I'm all these things, and that's great. But internally, I was still just not allowing myself to just be present. I was still living in the past. I was still holding my fist so tightly because I was resisting this change instead of embracing it. And I think that's the thing to have, like, when you're in change, right? A change of job, a change of position, a change of location. You're so quick to compare it to where you were previously, and you're so quick to be like, well, how come you're not like this, or how come it's not like this, and it's like, it's not like that because it's not like that, right? Like, I can't be mad at this campus for not being like my previous campus because it's not that. And I have to just allow myself to be in the present. And there's a lot of areas of improvement, right, here at this campus. And as frustrating as that is, it also makes sense for me to be there, right? It also makes sense for me to be here because I bring forth the areas of solutions. I bring forth the ideas. I bring forth the leadership. I bring forth just the experience, especially coming to a campus where there's a lack of that. You know what I'm saying? I respectfully, but I'm also just recognizing that, wow, the reason why it's so frustrating is because I'm expecting y'all to know what I already know, but y'all don't, right? And that's where I am able to shine more because I could help you in that area. Now, there are some people I feel like it's just, y'all just need to let this person go. Like, don't come in anymore. Take the next year off. Like, that's just me. But all in all, I just think I have been struggling with just a change. And in that struggle, I wanted to give up. I wanted to go backwards. And I think had the opportunity arise for me to go backwards, right? I feel like a big part of me would have definitely jumped upon that opportunity, but then I would have shortly realized that, damn, I'm back at where I was and I'm at a dead end. As for me being at my current campus now, this new campus, I'm back at my original position of being a teacher, but there isn't a dead end here. There's a lot of open fields. There's an open road. It's not a one way. There's highways. Like, there's so many routes to where I would like to go in my career that's available here at this campus. So that's my why. And that is what I need to keep on reminding myself of, because that's just what it was. Like, that was the reason why I left, right? That was the reason why I decided to just be like, I'm done, check up the deuces, F y'all, yeah. And yes, I ultimately wanted to, the main goal was to leave the classroom, right? And, I thought to myself, well, maybe I should just explore other opportunities outside of education. And, that didn't really work out to my favor necessarily. But nonetheless, I want to make more of an impact outside of the classroom because I see a lot of gaps that I know I could bring value in. So anyway, that's my why. And yeah, today was a good work day because I had to shift my mindset. And there were different factors that made me get to this point. And I'm just so grateful. You know what? Because when I think it's also because I podcast, but even prior to me starting my podcast, I feel like I always had the ability to look outside of myself. And in this moment, I was able to look outside of myself and realize, hey, maybe I'm not looking at the situation the way I should be, right? Maybe I really need to sit with the fact that I'm where I'm supposed to be. God didn't make a mistake. And, I was just on this podcast talking about maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I should have never left. Oh man, I should have appreciated more of where I was, and I want to be here, right? All these things, but everything happens for a reason. Everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. There's there should be no regrets. I needed to leave. It was my time to go. Now, just because I'm gone doesn't mean I'm not, what I'm grateful for is the fact that I still have relationships from that campus that I have maintained, and it's a reciprocal situation, and it's great, and I love that. That makes me happy. And I also feel like, well, I was supposed to train of thought, but the point is, I'm where I'm supposed to be. And, and yeah, just in the last episode I was talking about, or 2 episodes ago, I was talking about how, when I was watching, I came across this podcast episode on YouTube, and she was basically saying similar to what I'm saying now, how when you get into something new, you think, dang, I should have appreciated. And she used the example of jobs, which I just thought it was very timely. Like, it was perfect timing, because you get into a new job that you've been hoping and praying to get, right? Maybe you've been praying to God, like, God, I just want a new job. I want a new job. And then boom, that new job happens. And it's, it's a shift, something that you have to settle into. And you're now regretting the fact that you got this new job. You're now regretting that you left your previous work, and now you have to start anew into this whole new field, new campus, all these things. And that's not how you should probably go about it, right? Like, you should remember, no, there are reasons why I left what I left. There are reasons why I said, man, I want to get out of the classroom. I want to do this. I want to do that. And there are reasons why, there are reasons, you didn't just I didn't just willy nilly up and left. No, I've been meaning to fucking go. And I did my best to exhaust all the options and voice my desires and my goals to the principal at the time. And, some people are listening, but they don't really listen, or they'll just be all talk. I feel like that's how she was, so, I have shifted my mindset, and I will be continuously aware whenever my mind tries to revert to how I was thinking, and just be in the present, be in the present. So I had a good work day. And I have this coworker at this new campus who I previously worked with at the previous campus, and she's several years older than me. I mentioned that for a reason, not to shade anyone, but I was looking at our relationship and how she, oh my God, I'm going to get emotional. No, but she reminds me of home. She reminds me of my cousin who passed. I feel like I see snippets of Joanna in certain people, very short people in my short relationships that I've had that I just developed recently. I see my cousin Joanna in, right? And so there's this woman who I work with. I would see her as more I would describe her as a mentor to me. She has always looked out for me, just kind of been a guide for me that I necessarily didn't ask for per se. Like I never approached her and said, could you be my guide? Could you be my mentor? Like, no, it just happened organically. And I don't know, it's just the way that she is and the relationship that she has with her mother, because her mother works at the job too. It reminds me so much of my cousin, my dearly past cousin, Joanna, and her relationship with her mom, my aunt. Like, it's just so many similarities. So I was just reflecting today about how much she reminds me of her. And this is divine. Like, this is fucking divine. It just kind of hit me like I am supposed to be here. Like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. You know, and she has always looked out for me. Like, I never needed to ask. And it just reminds me of my cousin. Like, dang, this is Joanna. Like, Joanna would do this for me. You know, oh, she reminds me of Joanna when she did it. Oh, she does, like, just her character and just the way that, you know, some people, like, when you hang out with them, they sometimes act different. You know, I was just talking about a friend a couple of episodes ago, well, before PODMAS, of how, like, you know, sometimes when she's with her other friends, she be acting different towards me. Like, girl, what? Are we not friends? Yet with this mentor of mine, and I'm just going to say mentor, she is the same person through and through. Like, she treats me just as she does when it's just me and her, and just as she does when it's me and a group of other people. And mind you, other people who I may have met the first time. Like, she is just comfortable and she's home. You know, I don't know. There's just like very few people in my life who I get that home feeling from, who aren't necessarily my blood. You know, so I get that from my mentor, from her, a Black woman. I know. Look at me talking about Black women in a positive light. I really be joking sometimes. When I talk shit about Black women, it's really just me. I guess I'm still traumatized from shit that happened when I was a fucking kid. But like, I'm saying it out of jest. But I just want to make it very clear. I do have great Black women in my life. I really do. And I just think I don't say it enough because it's not funny enough, right? But I really do. And looking at this mentor and just reflecting on just like, wow, she has really looked out for me. She has really just been someone who I feel at home with. Yeah, like this is amazing. This is a blessing. So I feel that with her. I feel that with Freckles Bay. Like, he makes me feel at home. Like, I feel comfortable. I don't feel like I have to put on, or I don't know. It's just, I'm me, right? And I'm accepted just as I am. So there's like, it's just very limited. Do I experience that safeness or that safety with some people? You know, and people in my family, not everyone in my family do I feel that way, you know, with, but like, it stems from my cousin Joanna. I always felt at home with her. And so to find that similarity in people who aren't family, you know, people who I have recently, and that's why I say short time, like, I relatively met Freckle Bay and my mentor relatively in a short amount of time. And for me to feel this home and refuge and safety and just, I'm good. Like, I don't have to feel like I have to be someone else, or, you know, whatever that looks like. So, yeah, you know, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I think that was a hard pill for me to swallow, because I'm like, no, I want to go back. Because you want to go back to what's comfortable, right? You want to go back to what you feel like is supposed to be just, well, I've already built these these relationships with people. I've built this bond with them. I should just stay there. I should have stayed there, right? No. Because I'm still going to feel that dead end feeling, and that dead end feeling is crippling. Like, if I want to move forward in my professional career, you know, it's not okay for me to be in a place that doesn't respect that. So I just have to keep that in mind and remember that I'm where I'm supposed to be, and just have some patience too, because I can't just expect this instantly. Maybe not instantly, but like, I think, I literally have to trust the process and trust that things are moving and grooving the way that they're supposed to. There's already talks of a position of leadership that I can take on, that I can obtain in the new semester coming up. And that's a door in. That's a doorway in. And that could have been, and I'm going back to my previous campus because that could have been an opportunity then. You know what I mean? Like, that could have been an opportunity then, yet the boss at the time, she just was always giving excuses like, oh, the budget, this and that. It's like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, there's so many other stories I could say, but either way, I felt like regardless, she was pigeonholing me. She was pigeonholing me. And when you know that you're worth more and that you deserve more, you get tired of being pigeonholed. You get tired of being held back when it's like, bitch, I know I could fucking do this job. And I know I could do it well. So anyway, excuse me. So anyway, I I am better now when it comes to my perspective, and I know there will be days when I will probably be battling with just like, fuck this, just like want to jump off a cliff, figuratively. But again, you have to remember your why. Like, you left this job for what? Remember the reason why. Okay? And so that's me speaking to myself. And y'all, whoever may be going through something similar. But yeah, I'm grateful that I came to this resolution, or just like, this point. And like, there are good people I do work. Like, I am open. And I think also when you're in the present, you're allowing yourself to like really see other people. Like, like, see the people I work with and not just be like, fuck them all. Like, I think I just wasn't like you're allowing yourself to be open and get to know people. Like, oh my gosh, I had an instance just the other day with this guy so we're two different cultures, right? Totally different cultures. And I didn't take it as a slight with what he did. So let's get into it. So my hair currently is in Bantu knots. It's half Bantu knot and half down. And so I'm getting a lot of compliments. Thank you. I appreciate it. People like my hair. Cool. There's one guy, a coworker of mine. He's not black. He's not white. It's one thing if he was white, then I would have been like, nah, fuck that. I wouldn't have been as graceful in my reaction to what he did. But this guy, he's Turkish. Okay. And so anyway, so he was describing my hair, and he was saying that it resembles a cat. I guess I don't know. Like, I'm not quick to be offended when it comes to like stuff like that. I don't know. I just don't look at it like that. Anyway, so he was trying to say, oh, it's like a cat. And so he has a daughter, and he was trying to reference that his daughter had a hairstyle similar, or that his daughter will like this hair, like something like that, right? And so he gets up. So mind you, we're all seated and eating in fellowship, right? So he gets up, and he wanted to like look throughout my hair, like my whole head, to look at the hairstyle closely, which is like, okay, nigga, you could just see it from this vantage point. But okay. So he gets up, and it looks like he's about to come closer to the point where he's about to touch my hair. So, me being the graceful Julie, the graceful, what's a G name? I don't want to say Grace. The graceful Gretel that I am, I am, I'm smiling And I'm also saying, don't touch my hair. And I wish I could demonstrate to you guys visually what I'm describing. But if you just think of the Matrix, and how in the Matrix there's this scene. I've never seen the Matrix, but I've always heard of like this like movement that people reference from the Matrix of Keanu. He's like moving in slow motion, and like his arms are flailing, and he's like, whoa, that like whoa type of thing, right? So I'm doing that. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, whoa, don't touch my hair. Nope, don't touch my hair. Like, I'm doing that, right? He's like, no, I just wanted. I'm like, no. And he kept on trying to like explain himself to justify what seemingly he's about to do, which is to touch my hair. So he eventually got the point and sat his ass back down. I'm like, no, you could go ahead and sit right back down. So I'm like doing all this. So I'm like, no, don't touch my hair. No, don't, nope. You could go ahead and sit right back down. I'm saying this. I'm literally saying this. He doesn't end up touching my hair, thankfully. And he sits back down. And it becomes like a very like laughing mode. Like it wasn't awkward. Well, I mean, it was kind of a little awkward, but we moved past it. Like it wasn't like, oh, I'm just cussing him out now. I'm not flipping tables. It wasn't that deep in that moment. I didn't let it to be. And he wasn't being offensive. Like, I don't know. I didn't take what he was saying as mal intent. Yet, what happened is what happened. And I felt like afterwards, even though I did say no, and he didn't touch my hair, that's fine. I just felt like afterwards, I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe he's unfamiliar with what is okay for Black women, right? Maybe he's not aware of the historical reference that it is for why you should not touch a Black woman's hair without their consent, of course. So I just thought to myself, well, this is a teachable moment. I'm going to teach this nigga. So the following day comes and I call him to the side. I'm like, hey, are you free right now? And I referenced that moment. I said, hey, just so you know, I'm not sure if you're aware of, Black women in their hair, but it was offensive for you to try to touch my hair, especially when I was saying, don't touch my hair. So then he goes on to say that, and he's speaking very kindly and like smiling. And again, I think it's just an ignorance thing. I don't think it was this will to be racist, right? I'm gonna fucking be racist and make you feel offended. No, it was just an ignorant thing. And he was trying to explain that he wasn't trying to touch my hair, and he just wanted to see the backside of it because there was a hairstyle that his daughter had. He was doing all this dumb shit talking about that. I'm like, well, you were standing up and coming close to my head. It looked like, if I could conjure up the reason why you're standing up behind me, you may want to touch my head. Like, it just kind of made sense. So he tried to clarify himself. I did stand in the fact that it, regardless, don't do that shit. He apologized. He's like, oh, he didn't mean to offend me. And mind you, he immediately apologized. He wasn't like, he just wanted to explain himself, but he did immediately apologize as well. And he also said, he appreciate me for coming to him and explaining. And that's what he likes he likes conversations like this because it allows him to learn more and grow and understand what's okay and what's not. And he also, I asked him, like, what is your background? What's your ethnicity? And he says he's from Turkey. And I'm like, all right, okay. And I knew he wasn't white. He obviously wasn't Black. I thought he was Israeli. But no, he's Turkish. And he started talking about his culture. And it was eye-opening for me because I'm not familiar. I've heard of Turkey, right? I just wasn't familiar of their ways of being. I wasn't aware. And so he was making me aware, or he was teaching me about how in the Turkish culture, they're affectionate. Like, they're very affectionate. They're very open. He was saying how two men could walk hand in hand, like arm in arm. You know how you lock arms with someone, literally lock arms with someone? two men will do that. And these two men are not romantic. They're not gay. They're just two good friends who love each other and they just want to lock arms. And he was saying how he would see strangers off the street and with their babies, and the baby will be so cute. They're like, oh my gosh, can I play with your baby? And then the stranger parents will be like, yeah, of course. And they will allow this stranger to come play with their babies. You know? And that stranger playing with the baby will play with the baby and then bring the baby back to the stranger parents. And it's nothing, right? Things are just normal and comfortable like that in the Turkish community. Now, that's crazy as fuck, right? In my vantage point. But for him, it's not. For him, it's nothing. And he was talking about how his ex-wife would have to tell him, hey, we don't do that in America. I'm like, oh, what's your ex-wife? Oh, she's American. So there was some differences there, and she had to teach him about the American way of doing things while he was so comfortable with the Turkish way, and he just couldn't understand. I mean, he understands now, but naturally his go-to is to be affectionate, is to be all of these things. And look, and I think, that was a great opportunity, right? Like that, it wasn't a moment to be all fucking like, well, you're racist, I'm gonna write you up, he needs to be canceled, delete him, from this organization, fire him, he should no longer be here, you are a disgrace to, like, what? All of that didn't need to happen. And I did the adult thing by just teaching him my, perspective and being open to understanding where he was coming from. And it was no defense. He explained that he meant no ill will and he apologized. And that was that. Look, we can move on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like to hold on to grudges. I don't like to stay mad, really. Especially if you're someone who likes to admit, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. If you're quick to say that and be really reflective, oh, we Gucci, like, we're good, we can move on. Especially if we're in a professional relationship. Like, I don't want to have beef with anyone I'm working with, like, because this is exhausting. So it was just, honestly, that was, I feel like this is America, right? This is how things should be. We live in a melting pot, and when one person from a different cultural background shares to another person of a different cultural background what is okay for them and, some boundaries that they have, the other person could receive that, recognize that, and move forward accordingly. And they could also share their context, right? Share where they were coming from, their intentions. And the goal was to look at each other with the benefit of doubt, right? Like, I'm not going to immediately paint you as this villain who wanted to make me feel uncomfortable because you don't accept my blackness. Like, I'm not doing all of that. I don't know. I just thought it was a beautiful moment. And I'm going to go to Turkey. I'm going to go to Turkey just because of that. No, they probably don't want my black ass. It's not about race. No, it was really a beautiful moment. I felt like, wow, humans can come together. Because all these things that we have, like, that are quote unquote differences, are made up. You have the Dominican Republic and Haiti sharing the same island, Hispaniola, yet we're so divided. And it's interesting because many of the recipes that the Dominicans have in their culture are the same fucking recipes Haitians have. And Haitians are first from the island. We're the ones who created and founded it. Dominicans came afterwards. But nonetheless, the recipes are the same. Yet they're named differently. They like to have bidding wars on, like, who has the better plantain recipe, who has the better Ep.6 recipe. And it's like, bitch, this is the same shit. Like, we literally have the same thing. Like, I remember this Dominican girl, she was talking about this recipe of, it was like fried pork, and they call it differently, you know, some type of Spanish word, and it's literally the same setup, the same cooking tools for it, whatever. And I'm like, wait, this is grill. This is grill. In the Haitian culture, that's what you call it, grill. You know, Griyo. You know, so the point is, like, we have all of these quote unquote differences, but it's really not that different. We're really not that different. We're all human beings having a somewhat similar experience, but we create all these like extra factors to divide us. And, you know, just hug each other, man. You know, just hug each other. So anyway, that was, you know, I had a good work day. Who knew I could come on here after, you know, the last few episodes of me talking dog shit. Dog shit about this job. But, you know what, I'm going to intentionally walk in gratitude and just be in the present. And remember that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I didn't make a mistake. I didn't fuck up, right? Like, yes, I have free will, but I'm exactly where I'm according to plan. I'm according to plan. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for listening, and I will check in with you guys next time. Goodbye.